The following program is paid for by the friends and partners of Joyce Meyer Ministries.
David said, is there anybody that I can show kindness to? Two kinds of people in life: those who will do something for you if they're forced, and then those who actually look for somebody to be a blessing to. Is there anybody out there that I can bless for Jesus' sake? We don't need to look for perfect people to be a blessing to. We need to look for people that need to be shown the unsought, unfailing, undeserved mercy and kindness of God.
It's an issue of survival for my family because there were times when we didn't have any food at all to feed my kids.
My father was drinking. At an early age, I ran away from home.
I was imprisoned several times. We were in financial need, and we didn't have any friends or people who could help us.
What are the most important commandments, Jesus? You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and all your strength, and you shall love your neighbor as you love yourself. By these shall all men know. By this shall all men know. By this shall all men know. Okay, Romans 7:6. But now we are discharged from the law, and we've terminated all intercourse with it, having died to what once restrained and held us captive. So now we serve not under obedience to the old code of written regulations, but under obedience to the promptings of the Spirit in newness of life. So if we will be committed, and we'll just talk about this area, but the promptings of the Spirit. You're getting ready to say something, you get a prompting from God. You don't say that. Oh, okay. God has put the Holy Spirit in us to prompt us to do the right thing. We don't have to. I don't have to give the employee at work that's been mean to me a ride. I'm not going to lose my salvation if I don't. I don't have to. But if the Holy Spirit is prompting me to, see, this is the freedom of the new covenant. I don't have a law that says do this or God's mad at you, do this or you lose your salvation, do this or you're not going to go to heaven. But I now live by a higher law, which if I obey it, will produce in me a newness of life, an enthusiasm, a freshness, an excitement that nothing else can make up for. Promptings.
Jesus tells a story in the Bible where he talks about heaven being like a treasure hidden in a field. And when we first went to Riga, you don't see all the treasure that's hidden there. It's a beautiful city. The architecture is wonderful, but there's also a feeling of hopelessness that you start to feel when you're first there in the people. But the more you look, the more you explore, the more people you meet, you begin to see that treasure. That treasure comes when we're able to help people, to introduce them to Christ, to introduce them to their own ministry, and then their own spiritual life begins to flourish, and they become a wonderful example of what Christ means by that treasure. And it's so wonderful to be part of Hand of Hope, working together with the church in Riga, who is able to help make all of that happen.
Riga is the capital of Latvia, and in my opinion, it's one of the most beautiful cities. Because I live here, our church is here, wonderful people in Riga.
The city is amazing. The historical aspect of it, the old buildings, the quaintness of the streets, it's just a wonderful experience to be there. But it's so much more than that. When you take the city as a whole with the people, you really get something quite beautiful that God's creating there.
Many people lived under the old Soviet system, telling people what to do. We had the our ideals, our songs, and everything was said how to do, when to do, and what to do.
So that was almost their religion.
Yes, it was. It was. For many people, it was like their life crushed. What they believed for their life in one moment doesn't exist anymore.
The thing that in the West that we all think about is what a wonderful thing this was, because it opened the door to freedom. And while that is entirely true and it had to happen, it came with some really hard birthing pains. So these people, while they're on their road to something beautiful, had to go through some really difficult times.
We attained our freedom. And when this freedom came, it meant people need to start thinking for themselves. And it's not so easy. So during the time, everything started coming in, good and bad too. Many new ideas. It was a mixture of everything. There was this emptiness, so we needed to fill with something. I remember days when, people just to get a sandwich with a tea, it was a day goal. And it was a wonderful time also, but it was a difficult time too.
We're told that during the Soviet years, this lovely city looked very different. The buildings were run down, churches were gutted and used for storage of salt and different types of material. But after communism fell, people began rebuilding. Color came back into the city. And what we know now is that lives also need to be rebuilt. There's a void there that people need filled.
This is Svetlana. She has 3 children living with her now. Nyla is 13, Richard is 6, and the youngest boy, Rena, is 15 months. Moving from another part of Latvia because of unemployment, she and the kids stayed in Riga searching for a job, a place to live, and some way to feed the family.
When we moved to Riga, we started to attend this church, Good News Church. When I got there, I didn't have a job, I didn't have an apartment, I didn't have anything. So the church helped me in all these areas. They helped me to get a job, everything. I didn't have enough money for transportation to get to my job, so the church helped me financially, even in this area. And of course, it was emotional support, a great emotional support, because I didn't have anyone to talk to. So these people, they talked with me, they supported me, and they prayed with me.
Svetlana was one of those people that I really instantly related to, really connected with her. She's still working so hard. She was trying so hard to be there for her children, and yet she had to be on the job most of the time and rarely got to see them. And how can your heart not break as a mother when I see another mother trying to provide for her kids and not having enough food for them?
We had people go to the government, ask for help. And government will say, we're out of money, we cannot help anymore. So they will email us those names. We'll go visit people, bring some food, and of course, starting our friendship.
Actually, it's an issue of survival for my family, because there were times when we didn't have any food at all to feed my kids, and it means everything to me. I'm very, very thankful to all the people who have helped me. I feel like I'm not alone. I'm thankful to everyone in the church, and all others who have helped me in this time. deep down, I have this desire to help others. So I'm doing it now.
The spare time that Svetlana has to give, she volunteers at the church, watching the children and helping other families.
The main thing that came into my life is God's peace. When the pastors say, don't be afraid because Jesus is always with you, I can feel this peace coming into my heart. And I know I don't need to be afraid anymore. Now, people come to me and they're even in worse situations than I was, and now I am helping them.
The typical apartment complexes here in Latvia are like this. Many families live in small spaces and the conditions are quite difficult. This is also where we are blessed to be able to reach out and help many people, to bring them food, meet their physical needs, and do anything we can to show the love of Christ.
By partnering with Good News Church here in Latvia, Hand of Hope is able to participate in making disciples. The privilege God has given us in helping people feed the hungry, provide a place to live, or lend a helping hand into recovery. We are able to meet them at their greatest need, and then bring them the best news of all, the gospel of Jesus Christ. We invite you to be a bigger part of what's happening here. You can give any little amount that God has asked you to, or any great big amount that God lays on your heart. This will literally change lives and be the beginning of new life for many. Go to the website joycemeyer.org right now, or call the number on your screen and share what God has given to you. Coming up next, you'll meet a woman who was in and out of prison many times.
She said, I cannot believe myself. I am doing it.
It was hard to believe that there are such people who are ready to help us. We had nowhere to turn.
As I'm sure you are aware, there is no shortage of need in the world. Today, we're in a leper colony. That's right, leprosy is still a huge issue. And God has opened a door here for us to be able to love these people who have been completely isolated from the rest of the world. But whatever it is that God lays on your heart to do, you need to follow through and be faithful. Maybe it's doing a work like this. Maybe it's feeding children. Maybe it's providing medical care. But your gift can do those things. All you need to do is call us or go to the website right now. Your special gift today will change lives.
When you give a special gift above and beyond your regular partnership, we'd like to send you Joyce's devotional, Trusting God Day by Day, to say thank you. Just use the information on your screen or visit us at joycemeyer.org.
I was born in Latvia, but my childhood wasn't the most colorful. My father was drinking, and at the early age of 12, I ran away. Living in the streets, I met some people who were like me. They understood me.
Because of the time when it was these difficult changes, parents were trying to live for themselves. Parents trying to figure out where to go, what to do. And they didn't have too much of time and knowledge even how to teach their children and to direct them. So it created much more voids for younger generation than even for their parents.
Volodya is a great example of the need of people in this area. Because he had such a very difficult beginning in his life, in prison at such a young age and spending nearly 20 years in prison, then coming out of that, and then I have this life ahead of me, what do I do with it? And so It was wonderful to spend time with him and hear how God began to change that foundation that had crumbled into something very firm.
It was a long wait, but I got saved in the prison. On the radio, I heard a message of salvation, and this is when I prayed for Jesus to come into my heart. Since then, my life has never been the same.
I was in prison several times, and last time I left prison, we went to social services for help. They gave us the advice to turn to church, and the people from church helped us.
Alexandra's family left their address with social services and waited for any help possible. Good News Church in Riga got the word that there was a family in desperate need of assistance. They responded with bags of food and what would prove to be the beginning of new life.
We were in financial need, but we also needed friendships because we didn't have any friends or people who could help us. My husband had problems with finding a job. We had 2 kids at the time already, so there were a lot of problems.
The church has to be a place that is always ready when God brings an opportunity to help someone, and Good News Church does that really well. They have a lot of different outreaches where they're helping people at their point of need, but even more than that, they are there to love, to talk, to share. And it's those relationships. And so as they're seeing lives change, they're pulling those people in to help with the next generation coming in, or the next person who's coming in off the street.
When these people came to us, it was just 15 minutes that they spent with us. They told me about God, and it changed everything. It was hard to believe that there are such people who are ready to help for free. It was our last hope because we had nowhere to turn. After that moment, I can tell you our whole lives changed because I heard about God. After this, we started attending church.
I had a friend who invited me to the church, and I started coming here. And then I saw life in the church, how they are serving people. I understood in my heart that this was to be my ministry, my work.
I loved being at the church and watching Volodya lead everyone there in praise and worship, because he has such passion, knowing the change that's happened in his life and leading people into the presence of God. It was just wonderful to see not only the impact for him, but for everyone else at that church.
We have a place in the church. It's a sports hall where we do this. We have a special service every Saturday night that I help prepare tables and chairs. One of the things that I love to do at Good News Church is participate in this feeding program. And through this, we're able to share the good news of Jesus.
The surrounding community and people that have been visited during the week are bussed in and welcomed to this special service. It is this event that confirms in the hearts of the people that Jesus really does love them and has a special plan for their lives.
The service starts with the time of teaching the word, preaching the gospel. After this, we serve them hot food and continue to minister to them one-on-one.
While in prison, I learned to be a hairdresser. At that time, I did not know how I could use it in my life. I understood that I wanted to do something for people. I want to help them. So we started this ministry in the church. Then our whole family life started to change. My husband was able to find a job, and we know God is doing these things in our lives. and it's wonderful to be with him.
During one of this feeding program, she just stood up and she said, "I want to say sorry that you probably know me. I put many of your husbands, sons, and daughters on drugs, and probably you want to kill me, and probably this is what you want to do with me after this service. But I want to say that I'm very sorry. I'm a different person." And then she sat down and said, "I can't believe I did it. It wasn't me."
I was imprisoned 8 times, and I was a drug addict for 15 years. When I came to the Lord, He delivered me at that one instant.
How can I not serve? God served me, and I don't see my life without the possibility of serving other people.
The Joyce Meyer Ministry came in and helped us with just support doing this work. We just were able to do much broader and for much more people.
I know that it's God's miracle. I understand it, and I'm very, very thankful for what happened. So thank you.
This is where everything really comes full circle. First, we have the opportunity to go into a person's home to bring food to their family. Then they begin to build relationship. Community is what really makes a difference. And as they learn about Christ, they begin to develop a relationship with Him. As they make new decisions, they are rescued from a life of such difficulty. And then here, they begin to serve one another. That's when our lives really change. The question is, how can they accept a Jesus they know nothing about? And how can they know about Him without hearing His Word? And how can they hear His Word without us sending someone to share it? You are sending that important message every day. And if you would just join us, we could do so much more. Through Joyce Meyer Ministries Hand of Hope, you are rescuing people on a daily basis. All you have to do to be part of it is to call the number on your screen, to go to the website, joycemeyer.org, and to say you want to help share Christ and love people.
Went to a place of business the other day. We happen to know the couple. They provide a service, and I'd gone there for something, and just in conversation, they weren't hinting, just said, we're both at a place where we really need to buy pretty much all new clothes. It's just been a long, long time since we've bought ourselves any clothes. And I know that they've been tight on money, and we've helped them a few different times. And so, it just took a second. I didn't need a prayer meeting. I didn't need a confirmation. I didn't need, just the prompting in my spirit. That's something you could do. Well, I waited just about 5 minutes just to sit on it and make sure that I had peace. And, when we offered to do that, it made them so happy. You would have thought that you gave them $1 gazillion. And then we said, and we'll take you. We'll go with you. I'll work with you. They will work with the guy. Well, that meant more to them, the time did, even than anything else. Because they're not real up on fashion. That's not really their thing. And I'm cool with that. I'm down with that. You want to know what to put on and what looks good? Call me. Okay? A little boy about 10 years old was standing in front of a shoe store on the roadway, and he was barefooted, looking through the window and shivering because he was so cold. Barefoot, and it was cold. A woman walked up to the little boy and said, "Little fellow, why are you looking so earnestly in that window?" And he said, "Well, ma'am, I was asking God to give me a pair of shoes." The lady asked God for a confirmation and for a prophecy and for an angel appearance while she was considering buying the boy a pair of shoes. The lady took the little boy by the hand, went into the store. Some stuff you don't got to pray about. Come on. She took the boy by the hand, went into the store, asked the clerk if she could have a dozen pair of socks and a basin of water and a towel. He quickly brought them to her, and she took the little fella to the back part of the store. I love that part because she didn't stay out front where she could be admired and embarrass him. She went to the back part of the store so she could do something privately to bless somebody else. She took the little fella to the back part of the store, took her gloves off, knelt down, washed his little feet, and dried them. By this time, the clerk had returned with the socks. She put a pair of socks on his feet and then bought him a new pair of shoes. She tied up the remaining pair of socks and gave them to the little boy, and she said, "Now, I'm sure you feel a lot more comfortable." The astonished little boy took her by the hand, looked up into her face with tears streaming down his face. He said, "Ma'am, are you God's wife?" Well, as we reach out and help needy people around us, we actually become the hand of God. And I really like that thought. You know, you've seen the extended reach into the country of Latvia, and so we're giving you an opportunity today to help us with that outreach. All you need to do is send in the very best gift that you can, and you're going to be reaching out not only there, but in places all over the world. And you know what? This is an opportunity for you to participate. We should not be spectators. We should be participators. And I just want to remind you that whatever you give to God, it will come back to you multiplied many times over. For God so loved the world that He gave. And I believe when His love is in us that we also want to give. So don't just look at these stories that we tell you about people that are hurting. Get involved and help us meet these needs, and I believe that your joy is going to really increase. Today we're offering you our Trusting God Day by Day devotional. People have loved this devotional. Every single day, a fresh reminder that you can trust God today. No matter what your situation is, trust Him every single day. And we're offering that to you for your gift to the ministry of any amount. We like to do that because it gives everybody an opportunity to get this. All we ask is that you do your best. And I just want you to know that we love you and care about you. So guess what? Have a great day.
As I'm sure you are aware, there is no shortage of need in the world. Today, we're in a leper colony. That's right, leprosy is still a huge issue. And God has opened a door here for us to be able to love these people who have been completely isolated from the rest of the world. But whatever it is that God lays on your heart to do, you need to follow through and be faithful. Maybe it's doing a work like this. Maybe it's feeding children. Maybe it's providing medical care. But your gift can do those things. All you need to do is call us or go to the website right now. Your special gift today will change lives.
When you give a special gift above and beyond your regular partnership, we'd like to send you Joyce's devotional, Trusting God Day by Day, to say thank you. Just use the information on your screen or visit us at joycemeyer.org.
The proceeding was paid for by the friends and partners of Joyce Meyer Ministries.